So the Transformers 1 trailer dropped this morning. So there comes a point, guys, in every hobby, every fandom that we're a part of, where we have to ask ourselves, why are we fans of these franchises? You know, why do we love the Transformers? That's something I've asked myself a couple times recently. Once before the trailer of Transformers 1 dropped, and again after the trailer dropped. And I saw it this morning, and I know everybody and their mother's talking about it right now. And this is going to be a long one, guys, so buckle up. Thanks for coming in and listening to the Transformers Talk Raw podcast. This one's going to be a little different. I'm not doing no promos to my eBay store, nothing like that. I'm not calling out anybody this segment. This is just dedicated to, there's not even going to be news. This is just dedicated to my feelings about this trailer. And about this film, and what I think it's going to be, what I know it's going to be. And why I feel that all of us as fans have to and really need to boycott this film. Don't pay them. Don't go see it. I know it's going to happen because I'm just a small voice in this giant chorus. But I'm not going to see this film. I was going to. I was scared. And, you know, going into it, let me preface this by saying some things, unless you guys already know. But if you do, just bear with me for a minute or two. I received my first Transformers and introduction into the franchise in 1987. That's 1986. That's 37 years ago. You know, I'm 40 years old. I was 3 years old. Since that time, and I remember it clearly getting my first Transformer. I know some folks can't remember back that far. I can. I remember watching the season 3 of the Sunbow series as it aired, loving it, being enthralled with this franchise as a child, growing up. You know, when it disappeared, I wrote to Hasbro as a child and as a preteen, and they wrote back. And shortly after, Generation 2 appeared. And I loved it again, and it filled my mind with all these emotions of wonderment. And these characters, and whatever the lore was introduced to back then, and that was the Marvel comic books and the G1 Sunbow series. And I was so sad when G2 eventually died out from the toy store shelves, and we didn't even get the comics after a little while. And then Beast Wars appeared. And at first, just by my knee-jerk reaction as, you know, like a 12, 13-year-old kid, when I first saw Beast Wars, I said, where's the Autobot Decepticon symbols? This is garbage. I bought a couple of the figures, but I didn't care about it. But when one day I checked out the show. And the show paid homage to what had come before it in a very special way. They didn't directly, specifically point out Sunbow or specifically point out Marvel, but they paid homage to the origins of the Transformers, in my opinion. Well, to some of the origins, some of the history of the lore of the franchise. Of Unicron, for example. Not just in name, but in spirit. Of Starscream, and specifically the episode Starscream's Ghost, or Ghost in the Machine, or whichever one it was. A couple episodes of Starscream. But anyway, there were key moments in the Beast Wars. You know, Agenda with Ravage. And Nemesis, the last episodes of Beast Wars. So I loved Beast Wars. You can call me a G1er, and I am at heart a G1er, but it's not just because something's not G1 is why I don't love it, in my defense. And it's quick. I know a lot of people are quick to assume that I don't love something because it's not G1. Well, that's not the case here. I think in a fundamental way, they are now disrespecting, dishonoring the characters and the lore and the mythos of everything that has come before. And there's a few reasons why I say that, guys. Megatron, in my opinion, should never be Optimus Prime's friend. But I can get over that even. I'll tell you what this trailer knee-jerk reminded me of, just my initial surface feelings. There's an old Woody Allen, not an old one, but it's older now, animated film called Ants. That's how it looks to me. And in story structure, that's kind of how it seems to me. You have these low-level, underlying, beloved characters that aspire to be more than they are. They work their way to the top of this hive life structure, and they eventually break out and become prominent figures. And that's what it really reminded me of. But, I'm not against taking Optimus Prime and Megatron, Bumblebee, and those so-and-so, and using them for new stories. I'm not against that, but that's all they've done lately. That's all they continue to do. That's all they've done for years. Not against that. But to retell the Transformers origins and the characters, redefine the characters in such a fundamental way as stating that Megatron, and they did this in IDW somewhat, started out good and he was a companion of Optimus or Orion Pax at the time, is a betrayal to the character of Megatron, in my opinion. But more than that, to assume that these characters are so weak-minded and weak-willed as that they were not themselves before they acquired their ability to transform is an insult to both Optimus and Megatron. And you can say, well, why are you getting worked up? It's just a fun franchise and, for kids. It's not just for kids, it's for everybody, number one. Number two is, I love these characters. And I've asked myself, why do I love them? It's because of that lore and that mythos that we grew up with. And whether or not you were a Gene Oner or you were part of the Michael Bay 2007 generation, and that was what got you into the Transformers. And at first, I hated those films. But 2007, the first one at least, I've grown to respect over the past decade. It took me a while, but I respected it because at least Optimus and Megatron, they took these characters seriously. They respected the fact that they're so beloved, and they were, they didn't betray who they are as people. And I use this term loosely, but most franchises of the Transformers humanize them in such a way to where when you have a story or a franchise so fantastical as the Transformers, you have to take the characters and the events very seriously. And I think Bay succeeded in that. 86 movies definitely succeeded in that. And even at times in the Sunbow series and Beast Wars, they succeeded in that. They took these characters and situations very seriously. They didn't camp it up, which was something else that seriously bothers me about this trailer, about this movie, because that's what it's going to be. It's like some kind of, a lot of people are making Guardians of the Galaxy comparisons. I don't see that as much as I do some silly slapdash robots, ants style Pixar DreamWorks film. That's really the vibe I get from it. And to me, in a very fundamental way, to summarize everything, I feel it is an absolute spit in the face to Transformer fans and a betrayal of these beloved 40-year-old characters. I was going to go to the theater and hand out cards and stickers for Transformers Talk Raw, tell them to listen to the show. I can't do that now. Because in doing so, I would be agreeing to what this studio has done, to what this director and these writers have done, which is totally piss on my childhood, my franchise. It's no better if I went and did that and supported this film. It'd be no better than if I supported PvP and how he's built his channel, this with the stolen property and whatnot. This is just a horrible insult, and it saddens me for the new generation of Transformer fans who are just now coming into it and being introduced to this, because they can't enjoy that great mythos and this rich lore and history that I grew up with. Their transformations aren't magical, and they were not only that. I mean, there's so much I could talk about in terms of and questions that it raises as far as their origins go. As far as where's the Quintessons or Primus, what gives them the life force? They're not answering that, or they're just doing the old Michael Bay, Allspark thing here, which they probably are. Which that doesn't matter, and the specifics don't matter. But if you're gonna keep redoing Optimus Prime, Megatron, Starscream, Bumblebee, and all those guys, don't redo the origins or to in a way where it brings dishonor to everything that's come before it. In my opinion. Or, for heaven forbid, just redo or do new characters. Like, this film would have been excellent. I would have approved of it if it was just two nobody robots instead of Optimus and Megatron in that situation. You know, they could reference Optimus and Megatron and have these grunts working up through the ranks or trying to get to the surface of Cybertron or whatever. Or just leave the history of the Transformers alone. I mean, you continually rewrite it and scramble it up and screw with it. And in this case, it's only to make a buck. You found the hottest actors that you believed at the time, and these hip comedians to voice these beloved characters, which is irritating, but that's not why I'm not going to see this film or that I'm calling for a boycott of this movie. It's because it's truly bringing dishonor to the history of the Transformers. It's spitting on these beloved characters in a very fundamental way. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Thank you guys for listening. We're going to be back next week. Oh, and they announced, by the way, this is the only bit of news I'm going to go over here, that this Optimus Prime from this film will be up for pre-order shortly. I mean, it is what it is. To me, it looks kind of cheap and hollow, but some people like it. That's fine. And if you do like this film, if you're excited for this film for some reason, go see it. That's fine. But I really think that as Transformer fans, again, we're going to have the opportunity, and it's now, to tell them that this shit is inappropriate, that we just won't accept anything that's thrown at us. And I really feel strongly about this, guys. I think it's disgusting in the way that they've perverted our beloved franchise characters. And I told some folks on Twitter that I was really scared before this trailer dropped last night or yesterday. And sure enough, my worst fears have come true. And I'm usually correct about that kind of stuff. If I call something and I think a figure's coming out, I'm usually correct. Or if I have a feeling about something, it's usually right. But I digress, guys. I'm almost, for all day today, I was without words. And I'm just now recording this hours after the trailer dropped. And I don't know, guys. I'm really, you know how you get this lump in the back of your throat and you can barely swallow when you're really scared? That's how I felt before the trailer dropped. Now that the trailer dropped, I'm almost physically nauseous. I mean, it's such a perversion to me. But let me know what you guys think in the comments. We're going to be back next week. Check out all those links in the description below. God bless you guys. We're going to have a giveaway real soon, too. To all are one. This podcast is made possible thanks to the support of great people like you. Thank you.